Good evening, guys. Welcome to It's Spread YouTube channel, and I hope you guys are doing well. So, this is our third day in our introduction to web development bootcamp, and so far we have completed a few of the HTML topics, and the rest of the topics are the tables and iframes and forms, which we'll be covering by today. And even if time permits, then I will be discussing about introduction to CSS and the major difference between CSS and HTML. So this is expected portion to be covered in today's session. And don't forget to fill the attendance sheet present in the comment box, so that you'll be getting a certificate of participation if you fill the attendance sheet on the 7 days present in the boot camp. And if you complete the project which is given at the end of the boot camp, you'll be certified with a completion certificate. So by the end of this boot camp, you'll be receiving 2 certificates. And to obtain this PPT or some other resources, join a WhatsApp group mentioned in the description box. And in future, if you want to view any of bootcamps, then you'll be receiving updates through our WhatsApp groups. So stay tuned with us, and please like, share, and subscribe these videos. So let's start today's session. And today the topic which we are discussing is tables, and we'll learn how to implement a table in HTML. So table in the sense mainly it consists of rows and columns. So you can say so we have to create a table. So for creating a table, we would have a table head, which is a column and header. Column to header comes under table head, and the entire boxes comes under the table body. So at first we'll be creating these two entities, and first of all, in creating a table we have to use a table tag present over here. So whatever entities, table head, table body, or table data dimension, that must be present inside the table tag. This is the main tag present for the creation of table. And inside table tag, firstly we'll be creating a table head, and inside table head we'll be having two more entities known as table data, which is TD. So these three are the entities which we'll be using inside table. So firstly we'll be using table tag, then a table row tag, inside table a table head tag. Inside table head tag we'll be using a table data tag. So in head there's no need of using row, because the header contains only single row, so no need of mentioning a table row explicitly. But whereas for other rows we have to mention the table row tag, because it might differentiate this is table row 1, this is table row 2, so we can distinguish the table rows present in the table body. So coming to the table body tag, after mentioning the table body, we have to mention a table row, and inside table row we'll be mentioning the table data. So in here, the single table row has two table datas, and the whole table body has two table rows, which means it has four table datas. 1, 2, 3, 4. So four table datas we have, two table rows we have in the table body. In table head we have two table datas and only a single table row. As it is a single table row, we are not mentioning it under table row. It's fine even if you mention it. So this is the overview about table. So let's implement our table part. So let's get to our folder, intro to web dev. And today's date rewrite. Okay. So instead of creating over here, let's create in our folder itself. day 3. It's the tables dot html. So save this and copy the path, paste it in your Google Chrome browser. Yeah, we got our tables.html web page. Now let's put our boilerplate, change our title, save, and then run. So let me combine this both. Send body path. Let's really give an h1 tag first. Let me comment this. Demonstration of tables. Yeah, which one will say table of favorites. So we'll be getting a nice bold h1 tag. Now let's create a table. So for a creation of table, firstly I have to use a table tag. And inside table tag, you have to use a table head tag. Inside table head tag, I will be mentioning a table row tag. So no need of mentioning table row, but as it is the first table web page, so let's create a table row tag and then a table data tag. Now here comes our table data. So let us say a name tag over here. Let's give another table tag saying or let's just say indicating the favorite fruit. Let's save this and run. So you call this. These are the header, but you can see they might mix up with the content. So usually when we create a table head data, then we'll be mentioning it in the bold format or H3 format. So let's check H3. You can see it's H3 and it's the same for fruit as well. Then we got nice H3 tag. This is about the table head, and our table head contains all this much data. And now let's get to the table body tag. So inside table body tag, let's create a table row, and inside that we'll be having a table data. Let us say the now name is John. So first table data comes under the name, and here comes John and followed by fruit. So let's say the fruit which he likes is grapes. See this and run. Did you get it in this way? So actually getting this spaces because I've used H3. If instead of H3 you use bold, and see the change. This is the table body, and now don't mention the next row data in the same row. Try to create another table row. If you try to mention in the same row, then the data which you're mentioning comes the side to the previous row, because we are mentioning this data of the row containing John and grapes. So the new data should also present in this row itself. So in this row there's only space beside grapes, so it will be displayed over here. So let's check this. There we go. So to avoid this, we'll be removing from the previous table row and we'll be creating a new table row, the new table data, the new name. Just copy it, shift all down arrow. Let us say apple. Okay. Now this is perfect. And like previous, you can also use italic over here and other formatting text to make it look better. Yeah. And you can also create a table without using table head and table body. Even if you remove these entities, you'll be getting a table. So the only two main things here to create a table are a table tag and also a table row tag and a table data tag. So these three are the main usage. The table will be basically created, so it's not needed. And table row mentions the row in which the data is present, and table data is cells present in the table. So even if you didn't mention the table head and table body, you will get the same output, but you're mentioning because the reader or the person who is viewing your code might be able to understand, saying that okay, up till here this is my head part, so that the name and fruit comes under this head part, and inside body part we are having these four cells which we can see to our table row tags. So it's kind of formatted and easy to understand, so that's the reason we'll be using table head and table body tags. And inside table you can also use some styles which we'll discuss in CSS, so that you'll be getting a nice border and division between those, which looks kind of interesting. And this is about the HTML part of table. Now, let's see our next topic. Let's go to forms. Forms is one important form in HTML. So you have experienced Google Forms and some other forms which you'll be filling. So to create those, we'll be using the form tag in HTML. So forms can be of many types. Let me expand this. Yeah. So those can be text boxes, password, check boxes, radio buttons, submit boxes, and you have many more. So you can see over here. This is an input box and input text box, and this is a numerical box. This is a text box in which you can write a text. This is a drop down, and this is a checkbox which you can check even if there are multiple checkboxes. One checkbox doesn't influence any another. These are radio buttons. So in radio buttons you can have only one single correct option. You cannot have multiple. So you might have observed in your quiz or in any multiple choice questions when you are attempting, you'll be seeing whenever there is an option for multiple choice, you'll be having a check boxes, and whenever there is a single choice correct answer, you'll be having a radio button. So if I try to put my cursor and fill the female button, then the male button should be removed, and then only the female button should be invoked. If I try to put those both, it should not be possible. If it is, then there's a mistake in our code. And the submit button, this submits your text in the mentioned URL. So these are few properties, you can check them later. And not only this, you have many more entities, you can search them in Google, but these are the few important things which you have to know about. or instead of copying path, you can also change over here. We have tables, and now we're using forms. Yeah, let's get a boilerplate. Save and run. You got forms over here, and that's about the title part. Coming to the body part, let's give an h1 tag. This is a Google form. It's not as accurate as Google form. I'm just giving the name so many users might know the Google form. So the first tag in form which we'll be using is the form tag, followed by the tags which we'll be using inside the form tag. And the first tag which we'll be using is an input text tag, which you have seen over here. So the first one, which is a basic input tag. Let's create that. All we have to do is let's say username. It's just we are giving certain text to it, and here giving an input tag. And input is a self-closing tag. You need not close it explicitly. Actually, you have to mention type here, but in default it is a text type, so you need not mention it explicitly. This box which you are getting is due to the input text tag, and even if you remove this, you'll be getting it because in default it is a text format, and you can mention anything. This data will be saved, and it can be given to any place which you desire. And this is about the text tag, and now let's check checkboxes. So let us say still on, we're asking user whether he want to stay in the web page or not, and give an input tag, and in the type mention it as a checkbox. Let me decrease the font. Yeah, so I forgot to put a paragraph tag, so that you'll be getting in another line. Maybe one like this, but usually our checkboxes will be before the text, right? So let's change that. Just remove the input tag and place it before this. So now it's nice and clear. So after checkbox, let's give radio buttons. Create a paragraph tag. So let's give the input at starting itself. Input type is equal to radio. Yeah. Oh wait, I'm not writing any text. Let's see. We'll get a small radio. let's say. Before this, let's give a paragraph tag saying choose any one option. As is a radio tag, I can only choose one option, you cannot choose multiple options. And let's give a text for it. Let us say, okay, what shall we give? Let us give some topic names. So let's give DSA. Let's say this, and yeah, an input tag. Over here, let us say Python. Yeah. Then save this and paste over here. Let's say Web Dev. Now, here as we have mentioned radio buttons, we can select only one radio button. So let's see whether it works or not. But you can see that actually we can select multiple radio buttons because there is no relationship between these radio buttons. There actually is some random individual buttons. So we have to create a relationship between these three radio buttons such that if you press one radio button, then it will be prompted to the other two that they cannot be clicked or they cannot be selected. So you can do it by having the name attribute. Give some random name. Let us say topics. We are writing topics, right? And we have to give the same name to all the options. If you give a certain different name, then it might assume this belongs to different radio buttons and allow you to click on multiple radios. Now save and run. I'm clicking on DSC, and when I try to click on Web Dev, this automatically disappears. Yeah. And another important thing is that actually, see, when I open my page, these are not clicked. But in few cases, our options will be defaultly selected, and if we want to change our options, then we'll be changing to another option. So if we want to keep a default option, you can uh, do it by using checked. See, and now when you run it, see, and this is automatically been saved. Now if you remove this checked over here and paste it over here, see, even when you reload the page, even without clicking any option, Python is defaultly saved. And if you want to change the option, you can click on any other option, then the Python will be removed. Yeah. So even in checkboxes, you can do the same. Usually, if we want to stay logged in the page without changing, then we have to explicitly search for this option and press it. Instead of doing such, we can keep this as what we say checked all the time, and we want to remove the option, then we can uncheck it. So to make that, we'll be writing checked in this. There you go. It's checked automatically without even pressing. So if you want to uncheck, just click on it and you'll be unchecked. So now I'm unchecking, and if I reload, then it will be automatically rechecked. So that's about checked and in checkbox and radio buttons. So after checkbox and radio buttons, we'll be having drop downs. Drop down, let's say select an item from the given list. Here we got our text, and now create a drop downs, we'll be having two entities. First one is select option, and after select option, inside select you'll be having different options. And inside option, let us say any food item, like let's say for pizza. Sorry, save this and run. Yeah. So this is a drop down. There's only one option, so we are getting only one option ticked. Let us create multiple options over here. Yeah, you're getting two options. And what's that? Donut. I'm getting three options. And you can see that defaultly pizza has been selected without even mentioning any checked or any value, because it's a drop down and some value has to be displayed, so it's taking the first option. But I want to keep the default one as donut, so even when I'm not clicking it, it should display here as donut. So to make certain changes, we have to uh, keep here as selected. So they were using checked for these options, and for drop down we have to use selected because we are using the select tag over here. Select tag is nothing but you can select various options from here. That's a select tag, and option in the sense you're getting these three options, right? So those are the option tags, and defaultly this is will be selected. And now we are writing that donut should be defaultly selected. So let's run and see. Save this. See, instead of pizza now it's displaying the donut option. So I can change my option to any other option, but even when you reload it, it will be defaultly changed to donut. So yes, this is about the drop downs. And so these three topics only will be covering in forms, and I'll be saying some more attributes in the input command. So you can see usually when we encounter this username or password in our real life, we'll be seeing that there will be a certain text before entering, saying that enter your email or @gmail.com. It's prompting the user that the username which you must enter should be in the format of @gmail.com. So to create such types, you can use placeholder. Let's say @gmail.com. Yeah. Now if you try to click over here, then even did not delete the text. It's actually present behind our drop down. Sorry, behind our input box. So you did not delete it. You can type your text, and this text will automatically disappear when you try to write your text. Then the Gmail text will be disappeared. And that's about the placeholder. And instead of placeholder, you have another command known as value. Now let us remove this and write value. Let us say enter. Yeah, but the difference between a previous placeholder and value is that you have to delete this text. This is the default text present. Now you can see the default over here, the default commands you have, right? So if you don't press anything, then this text will be taken into consideration. So you have to delete this text and write a new text. So that's the use of value and placeholder. Now coming to the last entity, which is the submit button, which is the last entity in no form we'll be discussing, and that is submit. Sorry, you have to have an input command. So you can see for any commands to work, they have to be inside the input command. So let's write input submit. Yeah, save and run. Okay, I want this in different line. Now, when you click submit, you can see that your page will be refreshed automatically. Now you can see it's being refreshed. Yeah. So submit button submits your data, and also it's like submitting your data in this time interval and then reloading the data again. Hmm. So sometimes you need not have submit text, or you want to change the text. You can do it by using the value command which we use in our username box. So you can also use the same, write value is equal to, say, click here and run. Now let me show you that this page is actually reloading when I press the submit button. So I'm writing a normal text in a paragraph text saying reloaded. I have saved. I did not reload the page, but when I press on submit button, then you can see it's reloaded and displaying the text. So that's the use of the submit button. So that's all about forms and tables. And you'll be having more entities like the text boxes and the reset buttons, which you'll be getting if you search in Google or online. Usually I prefer to search in W3 schools or DevDocs. So that's it about the forms, and we'll discuss about tables, forms, and the last leftover topic is iframes. So it's not a bit complicated. Iframes is a small topic, and yeah. So usually iframe copies content from one website to your website. It's like what we say. It just pins the given link to your website. It does not save. Now for inserting an image, you have to save the image in your file, and then you have to give paste that image in your website. It's like your own image. You are saving it on your device. But whereas iframes, um, you'll be just rendering the video link, and when you paste a video link in your iframe code, instead of displaying the link, it will display a video type. Now if we usually in a BBC news or any other news, we'll be seeing after a content there'll be a small video, and when you play the video it starts playing, and you can also view it in full screen or in any other method. So this type of this type of usage is known as iframes. So let's implement an iframe. Let's go to forms. So let's implement over here forms. Yeah. Implementation of iframes. It's not mandatory, but it makes your website look beautiful. And to get an iframe, just go to your YouTube link. So here's a YouTube video which I want to paste it on my website. So all you have to do is just go for share, and you'll get an embed button over here. So this is the embed link which you need. See already, so there's an iframe code over here. So just copy this and paste it in your file. So if there are no iframe tags, then you have to add it explicitly, but most of times you'll get this iframe tags. So save this and then run. There you go. You got your YouTube video over here. Say this is actually a type of link, but instead of displaying the link, it displays the entire content, which looks quite beautiful. And when you try to play this, it starts playing and you can also view this in full screen. Yeah, so yes, that's it about iframes, and I guess only that topic is left to us. Iframes completed, now we have to go to CSS. So before entering into CSS, let's see what all topics did we cover. Firstly, we learned about paragraph tags, header tags, and then again we saw the HR line, BR tag, and links, images, and again now today we learn about tables, and before that we even learned about list, unordered and ordered list, and now we have learned tables, forms, tables, different types of forms, and iframes. So once again, to brush up your skills, you can create your own project, which I have created during my learning age. So when I was learning, I created my own website using only HTML. So once I'll just demonstrate it. So at that time I used to play Among Us a lot, so I thought why not create a web page on that. So let's copy this part. Yeah. So I only created a little, but the web page which I created covered all the elements which I have learned. Like the first in the first one, the header tags have completed, and this is an image. And after this iframes tag, we'll be having the paragraph tags which I have written directly in the p tag. So this is the first paragraph tag, and this is my second paragraph tag. Now here's a link to download the game, so let's open it in new tab. So when I click on the link, I'll be directed to download the game. This is an h2 tag. This is an ordered list. You can see this is the YouTube. So this is the iframe I have kept here, and this is a photo, an image. This is an iframe, an image, and then I have created a table. And in this table, this is a combination of table and an unordered list. At last, I have told about IDs, right? So when I click here, I'll be redirected to the link, and when I click, I'll visit the link to install the game. Yeah, so yes, this is about the HTML project, and you can also implement on your own topic. And at the end of the bootcamp, we will mention to submit your project. So this project is optional, so you can submit it if you want, but I'll be explaining another project with a combination of HTML and CSS, which you have to submit it after the bootcamp. So along with that, you can also submit this project which you'll be doing. Yes, that's it about HTML which you need, and if you want to dig in more, you have resources, you have your Google, you can visit W3 schools, and also there's a document called DevDocs API documentation, which is pretty good. You'll be having everything which you need over there. So okay, so now let's just take a brief overview about CSS. Let's close the VS Code. I guess we don't need this. Yeah. So CSS is nothing but it's cascading style sheet. So it's used to beautify our web page. If HTML acts as a template, or what do we say, the main body, the inside part of the web page, then CSS styles the HTML present in it. So we can implement a web page only using only HTML, but we cannot implement a web page using only CSS. So as I told, HTML must be the base case for everything. So we are applying CSS on top of HTML. it's like a layer. See, last layer you'll be having the HTML, and at top you'll be providing a cream called CSS on top of it. Yeah, so this is few details about the CSS which you can read later. This is the main difference between HTML and CSS. You can see the inside skeleton, our body structure, and everything comes under HTML, and CSS is the way we dress. Or you can change your clothing. The CSS keep changing. And if we dig deeper, then the actions which your brain commands you to grab a certain item or to open something, to walk, and everything will be given by JavaScript. It's the logic. It's a programming language. And again, these two are not programming languages. HTML and CSS are not programming languages. They're just tools, mere tools. But whereas JavaScript is a programming language and deals with the logic, it commands the user about what to do and what a computer has to do when we click a certain button or to take the input from the user. So let's deal with it later. So coming to HTML, it defines the basic structure of the web page, and CSS is used to style. It consists tags in which text is closed, selectors, and in CSS mostly we'll be using IDs and classes because while styling we don't style the entire page, right? So now you can see, let's take this web page as an example. You can see only this the top part is in little dark orange, and here you can see some gray color. So without using class and iris, this entire web page would become the orange color. So here I'll be there are four, one, two, three. Let's say these three elements have been placed under the same ID, and I'm giving the ID background color as orange. So by which we'll be getting a background color for those which we have mentioned the IDs. So hence IDs and classes are pretty important in this. Yes, we cannot use HTML without CSS sheet. So these are few examples. And tomorrow we'll be learning more about CSS. CSS is again broadly divided into three types: inline CSS, internal CSS, and external CSS. So that's all from tomorrow. Let's start with the CSS. And today, that's it for today, guys. And don't forget to try a project on your own. And if you want, you can share that in your WhatsApp group so that others might have an motivation, or they might also get certain thought to do about how to create a project. And you can choose your own topic from Google. Okay, so I'll give a quick overview. We learned about tables, which we used a table head, table body, and inside table head we have table row. Inside table row we were having table data. Same for the table body. So we'll be getting such type. And after this we learned about forms. In forms we learned about the input form, which we use username, and inside username we even use placeholder and value, two attributes. And after input text command we used the drop down box. In drop down we also use default selector. So by writing selected, that value will be defaultly uh, shown in the drop down box. Again, this is the checkbox. We learned about checkbox, radio buttons, which if the radio buttons have the same name, then they come under the same entity, and you can select only single radio button. And coming to submit button, if you press the submit, the data will be submitted and automatically it refreshes the page. Yes, and that's it for today, guys. And this is all. You can check this out. And iframes is a small topic. It's not more required to explain again. And that's it for today, guys. See you tomorrow. Stay tuned. Please share, like, and subscribe our videos. And tomorrow let's talk more about CSS.